Let me go ahead and get myself there as well. Hey, Shalom Yahal Shim Yahushai Barak Thumb to all the brothers of Israel. Shalom Yahal Shamar Elathub Shim Yahushai to the sisters. This is the ISUPK side of the 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the one and only Commander General Yana. You understand? This is the Tuesday Brotherhood class, and as you can see, the topic is there's no such thing as free will. All right. Now, I chose this topic for today, considering, the month that we are in. What is the significance of the month that we're in? Or what is can you tell me I can't think of the freaking word, connection. It's not the word I want to use, but the connection of my topic and the month that we're in. Yeah, I'm asking you. No sweat.
Shit. Basically, like when you're listening to in the car, you can't just be gay. Like,
okay, you can't be gay.
You don't have that option to choose whether you want to like boys or you want to like girls. If you're a boy, you just like girls, and vice versa. You like girls, like you like
Make
boys.
it simple. What is the connection of my topic and the month that we're in?
You have no choice. You need this.
Okay, it's just because it's Pride Month. Keep it simple. Because June is supposedly Pride Month. Oh. That's all I want.
So
I mean, you're right. You're right, but that's all I wanted was just that simple. But no sweat. All right. So I felt like this topic would be fitting for, this being the so-called Pride Month, them sodomites, they just go out of their way to try to own everything and anything. You understand? And being in a month is just one of them that they just went at, took upon themselves to go ahead and claim. All right. Before we get into the actual topic, just like we ask in every class, make sure that you like and share the video. So like you. There may be somebody on your friend's feed, your news feed, what have you, that needs this truth. You understand? So do your part to spread this word to the four corners of the earth. You understand? I'm going to go ahead and do that myself, and then we'll get it started. What we're starting off today is going to be the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21. You understand? That's where we're going to start after I'm done doing my part. If there's any questions online or in the classroom, feel free to ask them. If I am unable to answer the question myself scripturally, I will be sure to ask a mightier man than myself, because as you all know, in the ISUPK, we are not like the Christian church where we're going to give you an answer to your question that's just going to make you feel good or just sound good. You understand? We are all about the truth. You understand? Just like the scripture says, we must be able to prove all things. If I'm unable to prove my answer, well, quite frankly, I'm not going to give you that answer I can't prove. You understand? Wait 1 second. Apparently, I'm on a lot of Facebook groups, so that takes a little bit. So, likely. All right. And the crazy thing is, that's exactly where we started off. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
This is the book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5, verse 21.
Uh-huh.
Prove all things, hold fast that which is good.
Prove all things and hold fast which is good. You understand? As the topic said, first of all, as the topic says, there's no such thing as free will. And in this class, I'm going to show that to you. You understand? I pray that y'all just understand this breakdown. All right? And mind you, all throughout these scriptures just prove themselves. You understand? these scriptures always prove what the UPK is, even stands for in the first place. You understand? Because all of it can be proven in the first place with the scriptures. You understand? Go ahead and drop that. We're going to go to the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 16. All right. So now we're going to go to Genesis, chapter 2, verse 16. Go ahead and read it when you got it.
Come on. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, Of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat.
Uh-huh.
Verse 17.
Mhm.
But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die.
Okay, so now what my question is from what we just read, right? What is the tree of knowledge? What is that tree of good and evil? What is the tree? Let's start off with that. Your mind? No. It is not your mind. Want to take another stab at it? It's a lot simpler than you think, because you speak in the same sense that that the trees stand for. When you try to do the history of what you came from, you would use a tree basically in your speech. To the doctrine of other nations. Okay, I mean that's basically, summing it all up right now. So you jump into the next question, which was, what is the knowledge of good and evil? All right, which would be the doctrine of the other nations. But right now, what my question is what is the tree though? What is the tree? What are trees in the Garden of Eden? Women? I mean, women are involved. Huh? Speak up. Huh? Vagina. No. I mean, technically it's involved. The trees are families. Your family tree. You are not to eat of those families. The Most High God had commanded Adam not to eat of those other family trees. Now, for example, do you know what that means though? What I just said? So, take for example, our culture, the way that we live. Where can you find how the Israelites actually live? Our way of life. Right here in the scriptures, right? In the Bible, right? Okay, so that is our tree. That is the fruit of our tree. But what would be the fruit of the tree of Moab, the so-called Chinese man? Well, I believe they are still in an atheist state. I know North Korea is. I'm not 100% sure about China, but China, they believe in the what is it called? The Confucius. I believe they still follow the Confucius principalities, which is an atheist state. It's just all philosophy. But that is for you to inquire about that and then live your life, based off of those principalities. You're eating the fruit of that tree. Or in other words, as Officer Asar Nakwash out there in Kentucky, the mighty man who raised me up out here in Vegas, you understand, originally, food for thought. You understand? Or even take, for example, them Hamites, them Africans. You know what I'm saying? Because so-called Negroes are just still so in love with that African culture. When they step away from Christianity, they go straight. They step away from the so-called white man. They go straight into Africanism, just to love the white man all over again. First of all, but secondly, you understand. Now they're eating of their ways, where now they want to entertain the thought, putting lips in their plates or plates in their lips and in their ears, and goddamn, take cow piss baths. You understand? Well, they eventually gonna wrap around to that, because you can't claim just one part of Africa, like Slovakia. Everybody is freaking Egyptian when they want to be in love with Africa, which makes no goddamn sense. You understand? But that is the African tree, the Hamite tree. That is their fruit, having all the many different cultures of or ways of life of their tribalism and whatnot. You understand? And their little witch doctor nonsense. You understand? Go ahead. You got something?
So basically, it's not to miss the other nations. That's it from that.
Like I said, think of this Bible, these scriptures, is food for thought. It's something to feed your mind. Okay? And what you're feeding your mind is your history, your culture. You understand? So whatever the parallel is for whatever Hamite culture that whatever person wants to get involved with and learn about, that's the food for thought. That's that fruit. That is that, because it comes from that tree. Does that make sense? Right. Did I answer your question? So, because to answer your question in fullness, are we not to do business with them? And I'm asking you this. Are we not to do business? Should we not do business with them? No. You don't think so? Why not? If they can profit my kingdom, my nation, why not?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But are you sure? Are you sure that should still be the right thing to do, though?
Not entirely.
Don't second guess yourself. Which is it? Do you think that we should do business with the other nations?
If it's necessary. Not really, but if it's necessary.
So what would make it necessary?
Like if we were to take them into slavery type shit.
Say one more time.
Like if we were to take them into slavery, that'd be necessary.
So that's the only time we wouldn't circulate. So we shouldn't allow them into our stores and buy our products. We shouldn't sell them anything. We shouldn't trade with them. Any type of commerce.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, man. Yes or no?
Yeah.
We should. Are you sure? No, you're right. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So we can have involvement with them, but it's limited involvement, right? Because what do they think? How do they view interracial marriages? They participate in them. The like some of the traditional, the old school traditional so-called Chinamen. They kind of frown upon it, depending on who their son or daughter marries. If it's a nigga, if it's a savage, if it's a spick, they got a problem with it. In other words, if it's an Israelite, the people that are above all people on the face of the earth, you understand? If they marry one of us, they actually frown upon that. But if they marry a white boy, they in this world that we live in, the so-called white man is on top of everybody. You get what I'm saying? Right. Well, I mean, but the point is, the other nations allow interracial marriages. But do we? No. So we're not supposed to take that food for thought. We're not supposed to entertain that fruit. You understand? Right. All right. Now we're gonna prove all things, like we just read in 1 Thessalonians 5:21. We're gonna prove what I just said, that the tree of knowledge of good and evil was a family tree, right? We're gonna prove that by going to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 3. I'm gonna show you. 31 and 3. Ezekiel 31 and 3. we're gonna walk this a little slow, or no, we won't walk it too slow. Go ahead and read it when you got it.
This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
Behold, the Assyrian.
So, first of all, do you know what Assyrian is? Okay, that's a nation. The Assyrians that was a nation that was part of the Garden of Eden. Go ahead.
Was a cedar in
Lebanon.
In Lebanon, which with fair branches.
Okay. What is a cedar?
A tree.
It's a tree. Okay. I mean, we could just stop right there, couldn't we? We could just stop right there, because now I just proved that in the Bible, in our scriptures, in our history, in our culture, the way that we talk in the first place. I mean, hell, everybody on the face of the earth has adopted our speech. You understand? Everybody copies off of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That in itself lets you know that, first of all, we're supposed to be on top. And they actually look up to us, and they're jealous of us in that sense. You understand? Because everybody talks about, well, not necessarily talks about, but says, oh, this was in my family tree. When they talk about their family history, they don't say family history. They don't say pedigree, but they say my family tree. Even to the extent that, those little ancestry websites, they give you a little a visual of a freaking tree. And then you got all your cousins and ancestors and whatnot all throughout the branches of the tree. And they all look like fruit. The people look like fruit. Coincidence? I think not. Go ahead and continue. Go ahead and continue.
And with a shadowing
shroud.
And with a shadowing shroud, and of the high stature.
Mm-hmm.
And his top was among the thick
bows.
Like.
So behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches. Its branches, the branches is what reaches out. All right. So in other words, the Assyrian, did you want to grab another chair? You can go ahead and grab one real quick. Okay. Oh, okay. The Assyrian kingdom, the Assyrian nation at this time, they reached, it reached out very far, right? That's why it says its branches. It had fair branches. It was able to reach out very far. You understand? And with a shadowing shroud, because it was tall, it's a big, huge tree. And the shroud is basically, all the collective of the leaves and everything. It was a huge nation that reached out far. You understand? And of high stature, like I just said. You understand? It's a very high stature. So also all of its allies, basically like what America is to Europe or America is to Israel. You understand? Or what who was it? China to North Korea. You understand? These countries shroud over those countries. In other words, they protect them. You're in they're in their shadow of that other nation, that protection. You understand? So if Taiwan wanted to try to mess with North Korea, guess who's going to come and protect them? Because they're within their shadow. You understand? Another precept with to go along with that. I'm just going to paraphrase it. We're not going to pull it, but is how we are to have the Lord as our refuge and to be under His shadow. Because when we're under the Most High God's shadow, we're protected. It's the same thing. You understand? Only difference is we're talking about a nation in the metaphor of a tree, right? And its top was among the thick boughs. You understand? Big, strong. It's a strong nation. Go ahead and read verse 4.
Verse 4, the waters made him great,
and
the deep set him up on high with her rivers running round about his planks, and sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field.
Now, What do you think the water? Okay, so it says the waters made him great. What do you think the waters is a metaphor for? When it's talking about the waters, right? So first of all, take into consideration, we've already broken down and understand that we're talking about a tree. And this tree is a nation, right? But it's continuing in the metaphor of what's feeding this tree. We're describing the tree or the nation as a tree. Now we're also talking about what's feeding this nation. Because we all know that trees require water. But in this metaphor, what is this water in reality?
Connections with the other nations, or
Okay, in what sense?
as far as trades and
Zach, give the brother a hand. That was excellent. That's exactly it. It's trading, the trading and commerce on the waters. It had, Assyria is basically like the United States today, where, mind you, if the United States is not trading with your country, you might as well count yourself as a third world country. I pray y'all know that, right? Like that's actually what had happened to Cuba at one point when America cut off trading and commerce with Cuba, their economy plummeted. Your economy will be utterly destroyed just because simply America decides not to trade with you. Now, mind you as well, with that being said, think about how deep that goes when America has these problems with these other countries, but yet they still trade with them. America cut trade with Cuba because that was at the time when the Cold War first popped off, and America had caught wind that Cuba was allowing the Russians to stage, were they IBMs?
I think so.
Whatever, it was weapons against America. I believe they were nuclear weapons against America. You understand? America said, okay, if you're gonna set up shop, allow them to set up shop to hurt me, I ain't trading with you, so I'm gonna hurt you right back. But you know what's funny though? America was still trading with Russia. America, and even today, America is still trading with Russia. Even though America tries to say, "Oh, I got a problem with you invading Ukraine, and we, support Ukraine," and da 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 da. Where is your support? How are you showing support when you dealing with my enemy? You say you support me, but you still trading with my enemy. You still making money with my enemy, the ones that are attacking me. You understand? Yeah, I pray y'all understand that. All right. Let's see. The deep set him up on high with her rivers running round about his plants, and set out her little rivers until all the trees of the field. So that last part, can you break that down for me? You able to break that down for me? You already got the first part. You know what the waters is.
right.
Break down the rest of it for me, though. So it says the deep set him up on high with her rivers running round about his plants, and sent out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field. Stay on track with what you just answered before.
So would the little rivers be like small connections, or it'll be like me going to you and you going to somebody else?
Okay,
Type of situation?
but in what sense though? Why am I going to you and you going to someone else? For what?
Say I trade with you,
Okay.
and you start trading my products with somebody else.
Okay.
And so
Yes.
on and so forth.
Yes. Those rivers is basically the trade routes, which stretches out, to all the other nations. So mind you as well, because you're, let's say I'm Assyria, right? And you're one of those trees, the nations or families that is covered by my shadow, right? My river is gonna go, run through your family, but then also continue on past you, right? So obviously, if it's within my shadow, it's my protection. I fucks with you. Okay, not only am I gonna trade with you, but if you want, you can use my river. So it's not Assyria wasn't selfishly, in a sense, selfishly utilizing its rivers for itself. You can trade on it too. So those that are up and down the river from where you're at, you can do your own personal business. Does that make sense? And of course, it was of all the trees in the field. So because Assyria's power, their stretch went so far, it was a great empire. As it just said, I mean, shit, it was a big ass, a big ass tree that covered everybody else. You understand? So it basically shared its wealth. Make it simple. All right, go ahead and read verse 5.
Therefore, his weight was exalted.
Read that again.
Therefore, his weight was.
Read it again. Take your time. Go ahead.
Therefore, his weight was.
No, that's his height.
Oh shit!
Watch the language, but yeah. Therefore, his height.
Therefore, his height was
exalted, yeah.
Exalted above all the trees of the field.
And
his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long because of the multitude of waters. The way he shot forth. Okay,
so now we're actually going to stop here because that basically just summarized everything we just read in Genesis in the first place. Was one tree was sharing wealth and trade with another tree, and this great tree, which if you think about it, a big huge tree, you would think it would suck up all the water that hits the ground, right? Instead of sharing it with everybody. That's not the case in scenario, right? It's actually sharing its wealth. It's sharing its resources with all the other trees that what's the word? Read my mind and give me the freaking word, man. I'm a loss for words today for some reason. My brain ain't working on it. It's sharing all of its wealth with all the other trees. Okay. Does a tree actually have that mental capacity to do that? Does it even have a mental? As far as we know, no. You understand? So what is that letting you know? That in itself, when you apply common sense and logic to what we just read. A metaphor for what?
Metaphor for people.
For people, a family. You understand? And mind you as well, to go all the way back in Genesis. Now we just proved that connection, right? We just proved that a tree is a family. You understand? It is a nation of people. You understand? That right there just lets you know with just Genesis 2:16 and Ezekiel 31, we read 3 through 5. That right there, we can clip the class. We damn near clip the class. I just proved it. Did I not? Because what did the Most High say in Genesis 2:16 to Adam? Do not eat of those family of the tree of good and evil. Do not partake in these other trees. This is for you. This, on the other hand, is not. And the Most High God had basically made it very, very simple. These are good trees. This is a bad tree. Anything that does not look like these trees that I'm pointing out to you right now on this side, on the right side of you, if they do not look like these trees over here, you are not to eat it. So, in other words, when trees over there to the left, do not eat it. Do not partake in their ways. Do not partake in homosexuality and abortions and interracial marriages. You understand? Do not partake in worshiping their gods. Do not think it is okay to stick your head in a cow's ass and then wash your hair with that same cow's piss. It is not okay. It is filthy. You understand? Just like their ways. You understand? Do not think that it's okay to eat shrimp, pork, crab, lobster. You understand? Bats, since consider the fact that we still in that pandemic, the COVID pandemic from eating something that you shouldn't be eating in the first place. You understand? And a new uprising or re-arising a disease, monkeypox. I believe that. Look it up. Confirm that actually came from monkeys because I think it did, but I don't know if it was eating monkeys or if it was the Hamites were having sex with monkeys. It might have been both. Look that up for me, Bobby Kashad. Just look up where did monkeypox come from. The only thing I remember is that it was discovered in 1958. As you speak up, though.
No, I was just saying what you were just saying.
Oh, that it was discovered in 1958?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even say how to get it, other than being in close proximity with somebody who got it.
Not how to get it. I want to know where it came from. Was it from eating monkeys or having sex with monkeys? If it even came from monkeys in the first place. Because I know that there is a disease that is circulating from one of those two, if not both, from either having sex or eating monkeys. And I think it was monkeypox. I know they tried to put that down on AIDS. They try to say that's where AIDS came from, but
I know COVID. Well, that's what they claim that it came from eating that.
Right. This is my point. Because the point is when you go against what the Most High God tells you to do, death and destruction comes your way. You understand? Which, from what the title of today's class is, no such thing as free will. If that's the case, doesn't that mean that you don't have free will? Because my understanding what free will is to be able to freely choose without a consequence. You understand? I had a decision before class what shirt I wanted to wear. The only consequence I got is I probably look better in this shirt today than the other choice that I had that I wanted to pick. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. But other than that, there is no consequence for me putting on this shirt. You understand? But if I want to try to decide on, do I want to eat beef or do I want to eat pork? That's a big big deciding factor right there. Because mind you, if I eat beef, which is something that the Most High God had permitted us to eat, no consequence aside from the calories that you get from it and whatnot, taste, flavor, what have you, right? But if I eat that pork, when I eat that doggone pork, the Most High God, for that first bite right there, boom, now you got high blood pressure, you're gonna start getting heart disease. You can't fully cook out all of the parasites out of pork. They say that there's a safe temperature to cook pork, that once you get the inside of it to a certain temperature, it kills all the parasites. That's not true. It is not true. The major parasites, but not all the parasites. Or not even major, the bigger ones. You understand? But there are still parasites inside that pork that you decide to throw on the grill, throw on that skillet, what have you, that will survive, and eventually you'll get tapeworm or something disgusting in your body because you decided you wanted to be disgusting. You understand? You wanted to be like the other nations. Go ahead. From eating monkeys? Okay. So like I said, I knew it was one of the two. I know there's a disease that started circulating as well from having sex with monkeys. And that, Esau and Ham, man, they like to play with anything and anything that won't cry out for help. You understand? To keep it a butt. All right. So we're gonna go to the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 16. Go ahead and read that when you got it, brother. That came from it. Oh, you already looked up the HIV one?
I just typed in what disease came
Human
from.
monkey intercourse. Yeah. Right. But again, the Lord said not to have partake in bestiality. And look what happens when you do partake in bestiality. The Lord has to push out a doggone disease. In fact, the disease could already just be there. It just simply is already there, just waiting for you to be goofy and go get it and contract it. You understand? The disease will never see you in 1,000 billion trillion eternity years until you go against what the Most High God has said not to do. You understand? The Lord is perfect. All right. The Lord knows what the hell he's talking about. He didn't tell us to not eat this and to eat this and not do this, but do this for no doggone reason. He didn't do it just because it made him feel good. He didn't do it just because, oh, you know what? These are just going to be some bullshit rules that I just made up. And then I'm going to send a plague if you decide to do it anyways. Like I said, them diseases was already there, waiting for you to be goofy and go contract it. You understand? Whether it's by eating what you ain't supposed to be eating or putting your rod where you ain't supposed to be putting it. You understand? And mind you as well, the sisters ain't, they ain't doing no better, because not only are they eating what the heathens are eating, but hell, they allowing beasts to put rod inside of them as well. Because mind you, bestiality isn't just because it's a creature that walks on 4 legs and it's got a tail and fur. Bestiality is still interracial marriage, which is, hey, you let that white boy stick his rod inside of you, and you got the audacity to wonder why you got AIDS, chlamydia, or whatever. And that's because that white boy that just stuck you with his rod, he over there putting his rod inside of Fido. Then he want to deal with you. You understand? Romans chapter 9 and 16. Read 16. Romans 9 and 16. Go ahead, read what you got.
Oh God, this is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
So then it is not of him that willeth, nor of him that ruleth, that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy.
Read 17.
For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee.
Show. It's still show.
Show?
Yeah, it's still show.
Show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
So, when you take what we just read in 16 and 17, to summarize that all up as simple as possible, how do you summarize it? What did we just read? What did that just say? Go ahead. No, take your time. And mind you as well, and this is something that I feel like I really learned from the mighty man, Officer Shabal, from watching, learning at his feet in his classes. Stay on topic. Any questions that come your way, unless, for whatever reason you sidebar, think about, always keep in mind when them questions come your way, hold on to that rail, that guideline rail of what the topic is in the first place. And that's always going to help you with, answering whatever question comes your way. Hey, Shalom, Lord of Christ, Officer Rob Mayan. It's good to see you, sir.
Honestly, I don't know.
You don't know?
Other than that,
Let's walk it down and see what you see if you can put it together if we walk it down. All right. So verse 16. So then it is not of him that willeth. You understand? What did that just say? So it's not of him that willeth.
meaning he will not do something.
Say it one more time.
Meaning that he will not do something. Like it's not his will to
Whose will?
God.
No.
I mean, like
The individual. Okay. So whatever the individual brother is, right? All right, it doesn't even have to be a brother, it's someone, period. Take, for example, since verse 17 speaks about Pharaoh. We're going to use Pharaoh is going to be the objective in this scenario, okay? So it is not Pharaoh's will to become Pharaoh. It wasn't because it was his will for him to become Pharaoh. That's what that just said right there. Do you understand that? So then it is not of him that willeth. Although the Pharaoh may have wanted to be Pharaoh, it wasn't him that made him Pharaoh.
right.
Does that make more sense? Okay. Nor of him that runneth. So nor of him that tries to, it doesn't matter if you have the will, whatever type of work that you try to put into it, it's not you that made this happen. You understand?
Right.
But of God that showeth mercy. Put all that together for me real quick. What is that saying?
So no matter how bad you try, how bad you want it or fight for it or whatever,
Okay.
it's not up to you whether you attain that objective.
Okay.
And that is up to God, whether you get it or not.
So when we make plans, what do you think my answer is going to be? You tell me, oh, tomorrow we're going to have a barbecue at my house. I would love for you to come, sir. What do you think Say it one more time. So going back to what the topic of the class is, what is this all coming down to saying?
It's up to God basically whether it's going to happen or not.
So in other words, you don't got free will. You understand? Excellent job, Trudy. That was excellent. Give yourself a hand. That's exactly it. But see, now, mind you, I want you to also make sure that you pay attention to how we just broke that down and you was able to piece it all together for you to answer the question. You understand? That's why it's important to read every word and take your time and understand it bit by bit. You understand? Okay, we're gonna drop that. Why is that crossed out? Oh, okay, that's why. We're gonna drop that. Go to the book of James, chapter 1, verse 13. The book of James, chapter 1 and 13. And if you got any questions, anybody has any questions online, be sure to, if you're in the class, be sure to raise your hand. Online, go ahead and shoot your question on the in the chat, Baba Kashad. Whether it's on topic, off topic, you understand, that is what us priests and officers of the Lord are here for. To give you that guidance and answer those questions that, quite frankly, you couldn't even get answered from your Christian pastor in the first place.
That's right.
You understand? James is always the hardest one for me to find. So let me just pull it up on my phone so we can go ahead and read it. Yeah, let me get there with you. So it's after Hebrews. Anyways. All right, go ahead and read that when you got it.
Let's look at James chapter 1, verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot.
Look, go ahead.
For God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempteth he any man.
Give me 1 second. I'm assuming it's until 16. Go ahead and read. Okay. Actually, yeah. Read into 16, and then we're gonna break it down. All right.
Verse 14.
Uh-huh.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away out of his own lust and enticed.
Uh-huh.
Verse 15. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
Uh-huh.
Do not
There you
my
go.
beloved brethren.
My beloved brethren. All right. So you already know what I'm about to say. Let's go ahead and break this down. Okay. Verse 13. Let no man when he is tempted. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. My first question is, all right, why is it that God wouldn't tempt? He wouldn't tempt us with evil.
Because he don't want us to do no harm.
Okay, you're right. Technically, you are right, because what parent wants their child to mess up,
right,
and get themselves in a situation where you got to whoop their ass, right? What parent wants that? Not even the Most High God wants that. You understand?
Right.
So, but give me more. Why? And keep it simple. Keep it very simple. If you overcome all temptations, overcome all your lusts, and that would make you perfect and righteous, right?
Right.
So, why do you think the Most High God does not tempt us?
Because he wants you to be perfect.
Okay, you held on a little bit too much to what I just said. Okay, you overcame. Here we go. Did Christ tempt any of us?
No.
If you are a righteous, a just, and perfect man, would you tempt your brother with anything that's unlawful for him to sin?
No.
Why?
I want to be perfect like me.
Okay, why didn't Christ do it?
Because he wants to be perfect like him.
So why didn't the Most High do it? Or why doesn't he do it?
Because he wants to be perfect.
Okay, but there's more to that though. I'm trying to think of the scripture. I believe it's in Leviticus. No, it's in the New Testament. It might be in Corinthians. Maybe Matthew. I'm not 100% sure right now. If you were to put a woman away, you did, and it wasn't because she committed adultery. Okay? If she gets that bill of divorce, you give her that bill of divorce, and it wasn't for adultery, because she had committed adultery, and she goes and lays with another man, you know that she just committed adultery? That now she committed adultery? How did you? Okay, you know what? The how is irrelevant. How is irrelevant? You tempted her though. Now that blood is on whose hands? Is it on her?
No.
Why not?
Because he tempted her.
You basically
told her
be gone.
Right.
Witch, whatever you wanted to call her, be gone. I'm done with you. So now when she is thinking, you put her into a place of thinking, okay, you know what? This is what my Adawan, the man over me, my Lord, told me to, that him and I are severed, him and I are no longer. Go give me another husband. That blood is on your hands.
Right. So
now I'm going to ask you again, why doesn't the Most High God tempt us?
Is he want our blood on his hand?
It's not that he doesn't want it. You're right. It's not that he doesn't want it, But he's what? The Most High God is what? There's one word. It's honestly a one-word answer. This is one word.
Right?
Okay, I'll take righteous. I'll take righteous. I'll take righteous. But because he's perfect. Because just like how I use the example, you as a righteous and perfect and a just brother, would you tempt another brother or sister with something that is unrighteous?
Wow.
Something that would cause them to err, cause them to sin?
Wow.
You wouldn't, because you are a righteous brother. You are a righteous individual.
Right.
And that act wouldn't be righteous. And mind you as well, that would also put that blood on your hands. Now, take for example, the drug issues that we have in our communities and in our ghettos within our people, right? Of course, everybody has to take responsibility for the fact that they took the drugs that was on the table. But there's one question that you also have to think. How did cocaine, heroin, meth get on the table of a Black, Hispanic, Native American man's table? How did it get there? Because no, you're right. Go ahead, finish. The oppressor put it there to tempt you. You want this, you can make money, or you can feel good. What you do with it is on you. But how did it get there? The oppressor. Somebody tempted. So everybody that partakes in that, in those drugs that was just put on that table that brother took, all that blood, all that sin falls right back on that Edomite, right back on that devil that tempted all of us, but just used the brother to do it. You understand? Let's go ahead and read on. Let's see. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. Right? Wrote that down. It's simply, you can't tempt the Lord. That's kind of cut and dry. You can't tempt him as a God. Right. You understand? And then neither is he going to tempt us, because the Most High God is perfect. Right. All right. Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Break that down for me.
When it comes to a man's wants and desires, it's like he's tempted to want to do it because it was put in front of him by someone that is tempting him.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. So every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust. First of all, where does lust come from? What is lust? So you think that lust is strictly like sexual based?
That's how I thought. But nah, I don't think it is. Lust could be like, you can lust over drugs, you can lust over money, you can lust over a car, just anything that you want badly and desire for.
So now, the lust over a car, although I did find out not too long ago, well, actually a while back, that there is a sexual erotica for cars that some people have, believe it or not. Yeah, it's a real thing. People are weird, so like some, and mind you as well, it's devils partake to, it's mostly devils who be in that. But the lust of cars, it's not okay. When somebody is obsessed about cars, it's not necessarily a lust for cars, but what that car gets you, which in turn gets you women, like you said, right? But you brought up one good example, which was drugs. Okay, so drugs, yeah, sometimes, or a lot of times, we do drugs because women, because we want to do it with, it's gonna make it easier to get in her drawers. It's gonna make it easier, make everything feel better. This, that, the other, whatever, right? But does that mean that people are only doing drugs when it comes to women? Because mind you as well, you know, cocaine is damn near the official drug of homosexuals. That's like, I don't think we can say that. Sodomites, you know, that's a drug of choice. That in what is it called? Molly and ecstasy and stuff like that. You understand? So, but what is the lust though? What does lust come from? You said women. Okay, that's a good answer. But there's something a little bit more than that.
I want to say the sexual ride that you get out of it.
Okay, you're in the ballpark. I just need you to bring it home a little bit. Because mind you as well, keep in mind what the topic is. Because it's got once we come to the answer, it's gonna make sense. What is here? I'll give you a hint. What is our warfare? What is our actual warfare here on this planet? In this world. It's a scripture. I hope you know that. It's a scripture. What our actual warfare here is in this world. What do you fight with every day? Are you fighting physically every day? But how are you fighting every day?
Fighting demons, like.
Okay, so what are you fighting every day? You said demons. What? It's like. What kind of warfare is that you are fighting every day, especially as a black man? Okay, temptation is the tool of the enemy. But what is the warfare called as a collective that you are fighting every day? What is that warfare?
Slavery or oppression?
No, neither. It's spiritual warfare. Spirits and principalities. Your warfare is spirits and principalities. You're fighting against spirits and principalities. It's spiritual warfare. You understand? So now, when you're in the midst of spiritual warfare, what is the how I want to put it? What is the key identifier that you lost the battle? The battle, not the war.
When you give in to something.
What are you giving into?
That lust for something.
Okay, where is that lust coming from, though?
The oppression.
No. Yes, but that's not the answer. Okay, you're tempted. This is your battle. You are tempted with this devil, right? This white girl. She, Kim Kardashian, let's say. Kim Kardashian, however you feel about her, whatever. I think she, that fake ass and everything, right? But from the flesh, so basically giving into sin. So there's a white girl. She's got a body, whatever. She looked good to you. How do you know that you fell to temptation and lost the battle? And mind you, like, it's not like she's just standing there. Like, no, she's coming on to you. Like, she whispering in your ear, touching on you, telling you the things that she wants you to do to her, the whole shebang. When do you know you lost the battle?
When you allow it.
When you allow what?
When you allow her to be in close proximity, when you allow yourself to fall, to feel that way about that person or that thing.
So you saying that sin comes from feelings? You feeling a certain way is a sin? Is that what you're saying? I'll give you a hint. You can look, you just can't touch. Ain't nothing wrong with looking. Where there is no law, there is no sin. There is no law that says you cannot look. But when you touch, now with the scenario I just gave you, and my question as a whole, when do you know that you just lost that spiritual battle? When you let it become physical. So, in what sense? Give me more.
When you partake in that situation that you busted over.
Like how? Like come on, man. We adults.
You have sex with the wife.
You have sex with her. So that urge to have sex with her comes from where? And that is where lust comes from. That urge to have you are satisfying a certain thing, which is what?
The lust over that person.
No, it's your flesh. Your flesh. Lust derives from flesh. The brother on here, I'm Salakia, I'm not sure. Shadar Azakia. Salakia. Shabar Azakia. He said from the flesh, so basically giving into sin. That was his answer. It was correct. You understand? Your lust comes from the wants and desires of your flesh. One thing is you have to take into consideration, your flesh did not want to come into class. Your flesh didn't want to give up weed. Your flesh didn't want to stop eating pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. Your flesh didn't want to stop, putting its rod in anything and everything that is willing to spread its legs for you. Your flesh didn't want that. Your flesh, in fact, your flesh still desires getting high and doing all the, them abominable. See, here we go again. I can't say the doggone word. I couldn't say it last week either. Abominable. I got it. Abominable things. You understand? Them disgusting things. Those things that go against the Lord. The flesh didn't want to stop. The reason why you're in this class, the reason why you are in all black, the reason why you even got your doggone Hebrew name, the whole shebang with associating yourself with the ISUPK is because your spirit. Do you understand that? And if I may, not that I need to be in any type of spotlight, but I'll share something with y'all that General Hyman has said to me when I finally got approved to come into the school. Because mind you, I had to basically wait. I had to fight 5 fucking years to become a trooper, to even be recognized by the school that I was doing my 90 days, let alone. It took me almost 5 years. You understand? Because of the way that I look. Even though that I proved, who my father is, this, that, and the other. It was a terrible mess. The brother tried to say that I was false claiming my father. Now, mind you as well, that said brother is no longer in the school. You understand? But, so Jeremiah Hyman had told me, it was our first cookout that we had out here in Vegas. So this is 2 years ago. He had let me know, like, he sat me down just right here, right after he got done teaching class, and he congratulated me for the fact that I did not allow my flesh or even the outside world tell me what my spirit was. And this is just summarizing, right? I strengthened my spirit enough to endure, and mind you as well, if I may, as my name says, long suffer. all of the scrutiny that had came my way for almost 5 years so that I could be accepted into this school and take my inheritance. You understand? To be called a son of the Lord, a son of the Most High God. You understand? I fought a long spiritual warfare. You know what? And honestly, that's not even that long because you know Christ did it a whole lot longer than I did. I ain't nothing in comparison. You understand? But I did my part to long suffer the scrutiny and the nonsense. Because ultimately that's all it is. It's just nonsense. All those lusts of the flesh and all that nonsense, it's just nonsense, man. You're supposed to block it out. Because what's important is what your spirit is and what the Most High God, how He marks your spirit. Does that make sense? So your flesh, I could have easily listened to what my flesh said, went right back into the world, stick my rod and everything, love to get high, and not just weed. I was on everything. I wouldn't say everything. I wasn't doing no hard crap, but a couple hard things. So I ain't gonna bear false witness, but you know what I'm saying. All of that, I knocked that, right? You got to keep that in mind, and mind you as well. Like what we had just read, that ultimately wasn't my own will. I had that opportunity to be raised up from the dead, not because of my will, although I wanted it. I wanted it so much, I fought almost 5 doggone years until I obtained it. But ultimately, do you think I would be able to get it if it wasn't the will of the Lord?
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, I wouldn't be able to obtain it if it wasn't the will of the Lord. Right. I wouldn't have. You understand? That all comes down to what the Lord had even willed in the first doggone place. I know we got a little bit sidetracked and whatnot, right? But the point is I didn't allow my flesh to decide my life anymore. I took the wheel. You understand?
right.
You're one West for sure. I don't want to always give him a twab. Hey, Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ, the water. I ain't, so like I ain't shit, but that's all, how about your side, you know what I'm saying? Why Yahweh Shai like that's them. None of this would be possible without them two in the first place. And even then, nigga, I'm still trying to be, I'm still a work in progress. So like you understand? I ain't nothing to be measured up to, to Christ or anything like that. So, and that's the ultimate goal at the end of the day is to be, like our King. You understand? It's like, okay, so verse 15. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin when it is finished, bringeth forth death. So you bring all this together. Summarize it.
When you satisfy the needs of the flesh,
no.
you get punished.
Okay, you're right. But summarize it. Summarize it the way that you should. Make it simple.
So,
what's the title of the class?
You don't have free will.
You ain't got free will. It's that nothing is up to you. Nothing is up to you. You understand? It all comes down to, listen, either you're doing what the Lord wants you to do, or you're trying to you're either serving the Lord in spirit, or you're serving your flesh. And when you serve your flesh, that brings forth. When you serve the Lord, that brings forth. What's the opposite of death?
Oh, life.
Life. Exactly. It's life. You get to live. And then verse 16, do not err. Do not err. Don't mess up. Stay on track. Stay the course. You understand? Stay on that path that Yahweh Shai had marked out for us. You understand? All right, we're going to drop that. Go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Proverbs 22 and 6. What we can show. Go ahead and read it.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Verse 7.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, it's like
just that. Right? So, now, mind you, first of all, let's think about let's take into consideration who this Bible is even speaking to in the first place. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, exactly. So, what way is so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans supposed to go? What way are we supposed to walk? On what path? The righteous path. That's straight and narrow, righteous path. Right? Now, do you have children? No sweat. Lord allow one day, if that is what you desire, Lord allow, you have children that you want, right? As long, I have children for myself.
Right.
I got a 7 month, about to be 8 months, right? As he grows, the things that I teach him, the things that I instruct him, you understand? Because of course he's going to be in this school. He's going to be learning how to be grown west. He's going to learn to be a priest and prophet. As long as I instruct him the way that he, as long as I instruct him all the way through and guide him, when he comes of age, when he comes of age to decide for himself, no, he will not depart from what I had taught him in the first place.
Right.
Because mind you, when you teach a morality such as this to, like take for example, how we teach in the school, research on your own. See, Babakasha? We teach in the school, research for yourself. You understand? Obviously, with my classes, I come with my, with my notes, and we basically read together, right? We're a little bit more. Wow, that's cool. Wow. You understand? We read together, so you're able to read along with me. But that's still the same thing as me just saying. And I've said it in some of my previous classes when I would talk about certain things that I didn't have notes for, and that we was just I was basically just freestyling, right? Say, man, go look it up for yourself. These are things that you can research yourself, and that brings you right back to read 1 Thessalonians 5:21 for me real quick. First Thessalonians 5:21. I think I said 1 and 5.
Prove all things.
Prove all things. Go ahead.
Hold fast that which is good.
Prove all things or hold fast which is good. Me telling you, teaching you about the world, on how it works, what is going on, and of course what the stance that the Most High God has on all of it himself. Lest first of all, that is good. These are, that is a good thing to make you aware so that you wake up out of the sleep that you are in, especially if you live in a place like America. Man, Americans really believe that all is well, all is good, no harm is ever coming this way. That's why it is important. The job of the priests and prophets under command of General Yohanan in the name of Yahweh Yahweh Shai, you understand? Or Yahweh Ba'ashin Yahweh Shai, like it. Our job is so important because it's because of us that our brothers and sisters are able to wake up and realize that this country is about to crash and burnt. And it's not just America. You understand? That's why in the ISUPK, we, in the fake Israelite groups, they afraid. You understand? They're so afraid. Gay UIC is over there talking about, oh yeah, let's basically run away and go to Africa and set up camp there. We'll move to Africa, as if that's gonna save your ass. Because mind you as well, them Hamites, them little nasty African booty scratchers, man, they gonna get burnt the hell up too. It's not just America. You understand? This entire earth is going, everybody except for the Lord's elect and those that he deemed worthy to preserve, the 1/3. You understand? And not to go like real deep into that, because I know how some of them fake Israelites, man, they really get into that whole, oh, well, I'm a 1/3 and you're a 2/3. You don't know. You don't know. And especially if you're not in the ISUPK, it's like, I ain't gonna get into you ain't got much of a chance, because you ain't teaching the right thing in the first place. You leading your people into death and destruction. You understand? But the point is there is no running away from these things. So it is important for us to teach. You understand? It is important for us to shed the light on all that is happening on this earth, so that you can wake up. Our brothers and sisters can wake up and preserve their lives. You understand? And you're not going to be able to preserve your life if you are living your life thinking that, oh, YOLO, you only live once. You understand? My body, my choice. I know that pertains to abortion, but in reality, that is saying I have the freedom of choice. I got free will. I can decide what I want. Okay, so you decided to be burnt to a goddamn crisp. I've seen black marshmallows, burnt up marshmallows that's going to be more desirable than your ass after you get burnt the hell up. So like you. I'm just saying. You understand? You have to keep these things in mind. And mind you as well, to go back to the scripture we were just on with Proverbs 22:6. You raising up your children, our children. You understand? Because mind you, it might be my nephew, it might be my niece, but I'm going to help you raise that child as if it was my own, because they are that important to me. So that when they decide, when it comes time for them to start making their own decisions, they make the decisions and they think about, what, Uncle Arak, Uncle Shabal, Uncle Lacum, Uncle Shalimar would not approve of this. They will think about those that help raise them up. Oh, damn, man, like they taught me better than this. They showed me, they taught me about a scenario like this. I know what to do. Even though I'm a little bit tempted, I kind of want to try it, but I'm afraid of disappointing my uncles. I'm afraid of disappointing my brothers. And to do, and to top it all off, we taught that fear of the Lord and put that in them. So not only are they worried about disappointing us, where they can see our disappointment, but they're also afraid of offending the Most High God, who has the ultimate judgment over them in the first place. You understand? So it's also important that we teach our children that, there is no, you can't just sit there and decide for yourself what you want to do with your life in that context, that you just going to do what you want, that it's okay to eat what you want. You can sleep with you, marry who you want. You understand? If it steps outside of these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God had put on this earth for us to follow, if it steps outside of that, man, it is not okay for you to do it, because then you are bringing death and destruction unto yourself. Now, mind you as well, also take into consideration, our forefathers put us into this situation. So you raise your child up to believe that free will is a choice. Life is all about choices outside of the Most High God's parameters. Okay? Well, now you just continuing on generations to be cursed in that family line under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. You understand? That's what the Christian church teaches. That's what these Muslim mosques and all these little stupid religions, that's what they teach you. They teach you to continue to kill yourself. They teach you to continue the generations that have been put down on so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You understand? That's what came our way, starting all the way back in Genesis, which just means the beginning with Adam. Just the second chapter. We read it. We read it together. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16. Wasn't even that far into the doggone the chapter. You understand? Where the Lord had let us know, hey, don't mess with these other nations. Don't partake in their ways. You understand? All right, we're going to drop that. Now we're going to go to the book of Galatians, chapter 5 and verse 16. Galatians 5 and 16. This is going right back to the conversation, the little conversation that you and I just had. Well, not conversation, but, what I was trying to get you to understand earlier. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
I'm coming to the book of Galatians 5 and 16.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not.
Read that again.
And so I say.
This I say then. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, make sure you always keep it in KJV.
I looked up real fast.
No sweat. Go ahead and do your thing. I'll show after class. Just remind me. I'll show you an app.
I got it right here.
Okay.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. You understand? Break that down for me, Trooper. I mean, is this not what we just basically just spoke about not too long ago?
It basically means you have that choice. Live righteously and do as I say. And don't fulfill those needs and be stronger than that. Let your spirit be stronger than your flesh.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So look, this I say, walk in the Spirit. So when you're walking in the Spirit, what are you doing?
Following the Lord.
Which is, okay, give me more. I'm a look. Also, mind you, when I ask you questions, I'm asking you like a stupid ass Christian. So keep it simple. Always, when you teach, when you answer a question, always start with the foundation. If it's give me more, build up from there. But start with the foundation always. All right? Do the same thing with, anytime that you go to answer a question, the foundation is what the UPK teaches. Anything that the UPK teaches. You understand? Christ is black. Christ is only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, which is so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, etc. So, stuff like that. You always stay on that guide rail, that lifeline of what the truth is.
Right.
Okay? So, what is the foundation of what walking in the Spirit is? In other words, what is the simplest way to say it? You said follow the Lord. You're right. But I'm a dumb Christian. I think I'm already following the Lord. I'm already following the Lord. I love God. I am covered in the blood of Jesus. How would you combat that? How would you basically say, no, you're wrong. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about. Because again, I'm a stupid Christian. So what is walking in the Spirit?
Serving the Lord.
Okay, how do you serve the Lord? Thank you. Exactly. You walk in the Spirit by following the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay. And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Now, why is it that the lust of your flesh will not be fulfilled if you walking in the spirit?
Because all you want to do is follow the laws of the commandments and nothing outside of that.
Give me an example of what would be giving into the lust of your flesh. What would be the lust of your flesh, but you walk in the spirit of. Not like you in particular, just anything in general. Anything in general. Not sleeping with whores. Because sleeping in whores is giving into your sexual lust of your flesh. You think, oh, my pee-pee hard, so now I got to get off. So I'm going to go, buy me a $40 whore. That way my pee-pee ain't hard no more. You know what I'm saying? But because you walk in the spirit, you walk in the spirit, what do you do instead? If you got a rib, okay, then cool. What if she on her cycle?
You gotta wait it out. Let that shit out.
Nigga, I'm getting me another rib, so like you. Righteously, righteously, I'm getting me, have me another rib. Okay, just so that y'all know, because obviously that's still something that my rib that I do have. She got cycles. She a human, but I mean, hell, the way that my household works, pregnant again. So like, she just texted me. She said, "Retard." But you understand? Okay. But you get what I'm saying? Ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. When you are not fulfilling the lust of your flesh, you are actually empowering, or you are strengthening your spirit. You understand? Like, take, for example, that's part of the reason why we even have the Day of Atonement. Do you know what the Day of Atonement is? From sundown to sundown? Right. That's something that your flesh actually requires, right? Is food and water.
Right.
But you do it from sundown to sundown. You don't consume any food or water. You long suffer from sundown to sundown if you are medically able to, right? You suffer from sundown to sundown, not only because the Lord commanded you to do it, but he commanded you to do it, one reason, so that you can see that, you know what, with me, through me, man, you don't need all the things that your flesh needs. You can go without, you can limit yourself. You can be stronger than your flesh.
Right.
You understand? Just because your flesh get hard, or your flesh is hungry, your flesh is this, your flesh is that, doesn't mean that you gotta baby your flesh. You don't have to. You understand? You baby your flesh. You spoil your flesh because you're weak. Spiritually, you're weak. And you have no foundation. You understand? The only good, sound, strong foundation is the foundation that the ISUPK can build for you. All right, so like help you build. Because at the end of the day, I can't build a foundation for you. I can help you build it, but I can't do it for you. I can give you the blueprint as a priest and prophet, but I can't do it for you. That's like saying I can quit smoking weed for you just because I did it. Nah, man, the only thing I can do is tell you my stories of how I quit smoking marijuana, how I stopped doing, sleeping with whores, how I stopped doing cocaine, how I decided to get out of the white man's military. You understand?
Right.
And at the end of the day, how do you think I would summarize all of that? Huh? I learned that I didn't have free will. I learned that if I truly loved the Lord, I wouldn't snort a line. I learned that if I truly loved the Lord, I wouldn't serve in not only my oppressor's military, but an enemy of the Lord's military. So I got out. I finished my contract, one and done, got out. You understand? All right. I think that is enough on that. You understand? Let's drop that. Go to the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse. Oh man, I just lost verse 3 and 35. Book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 35. Book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 35. Where's it at? Oh, last one. Okay. Go ahead.
God, this is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 35. For whosoever.
Hold on, Salagi. Just for the sake of teaching, a lot of time, I'll say this. A lot of teachers, a lot of the teachers like for you to announce when it's written in red that it is written in red. I'll just say I'm one of them. So you say Mark chapter 3, verse 35, written in red. Oh, you can't see it? Okay, no sweat. All right, no sweat. Go ahead and read it then.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 35.
Uh-huh.
For whosoever shall do the will of God, the name is my brother.
Say that again. Read that again.
Oh, it's like it. For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother.
Okay, so first of all, the brother doesn't have, he's not able to see the color in his on his app that he's using. No sweat. This is written in red, which means Yahushua HaMashiach, our King in the Hebrew, or Jesus Christ, he's speaking. Okay, which means that we all need to shut the hell up and listen. Okay, now he just said something very important. Okay, something very, very important. Tell me what it is.
You have no free will.
Let's just say it one more time.
You have no free will, and by walking in the flesh, you are of me.
You are of me?
Like, we...
By walking in the flesh, you are of me?
Like...
Look, I'm going to help you out just a little bit, all right? Because you look like you really trying to panic for an answer and get the right answer. Just calm down, be relaxed. Take a deep breath, come on. I mean, you laughing. I'm actually being for real. Take a deep breath, come on. Now think about everything that we've already gone through today, what the topic is, and then what Yahushua HaMashiach just said. There's what should be really standing out with what he just said in that one verse. Remind you, there's a lot you can actually nitpick it. There's a lot in just this one verse. He really didn't say that many words, but there's a lot he just said.
Whoever chooses to do the Lord's work is my brother and sister.
Okay. I would not use the word choose. You know why? Do you know why? Okay, that's one, but can you give me an example of someone who tried to choose not to serve the Lord or do his will, but the Lord forced them to do it? Can you give me an example? There's a couple of brothers. There's one in particular I remember, but Jonah tried to look slightly. Yeah, almost slipped up. Jonah tried to run away and hide from the Lord. Got on a ship, and the ship, and the Lord started sending all sorts of storms, hitting the doggone ship. What ended up happening with Jonah? Man, the crew grabbed Jonah, threw him overboard, and the Lord had a fish, a big ass fish. It was either a fish or a whale, come and swallow him up, and then take him to Nineveh to go in and do the work that the Lord had already commanded him to do. Obviously, that was against his choices. That was something that he did not want to do. And he had his reasons, and quite frankly, I'm not gonna say that I understand. I don't sympathize with it. Because my thing is the Lord is dealing with me. The Lord is telling me. He's speaking to me. And you want me to do this? Man, whatever comes after, I know what's gonna end up happening. I'll live with it. Screw it. The Lord found you suitable to be dealt with on a certain level. Like, come on now. That's to be dealt with on a certain level. You understand that not very many others get the opportunity to be dealt with. You understand? Right. Think about it. It's not like every single person has the opportunity to actually talk to a priest and prophet of the Lord. Those interactions are based off of what the Lord wants, what His will is. You understand? So don't use choose. So reword your answer.
For whoever does
the will.
Does the will of the Lord is, for lack of a better word, accept it. Like, you all right?
You getting there? You getting close. You getting close. All right. Because mind you, again, just to go a little bit further on what I, with Jonah. Another reason why, because it just popped up in my head. Another reason why you don't want to say choose is because ultimately you don't have the choice. He's going to make you do the work. You're going to do the work. But once the work is completed, after that, what happened with Jonah? Jonah sat up by a tree and just cried. And he felt bad because now, he went to Nineveh, prophesied to the city and say, hey, y'all got 30 days to clean your shit up. And if you don't, the Lord is coming. It's not if you don't or if you do. The Lord is coming to destroy the city. But because within those 30 days, everybody came back to the law, statutes, and commandments, the Lord changed his mind and decided, you know what? I'm going to let them all live because they all came back and began serving me. There's an important lesson in that sense. And I'm only bringing this part out because I did a slight mention on the 1/3 and 2/3 thing that the fake Israelite camps love to talk about, right? That right there lets you know that we have the opportunity to persuade the Most High God to do away with the 1/3, 2/3, where all of Israel can be saved. We have that opportunity to change the Lord's mind. Does that make sense? So that's also another thing to keep in mind. But with with doing the will of the Lord, if since we are starting to get short on time, actually, we are about that. So I'll answer the question, myself. For whosoever shall do the will of God, the same as my brother and my sister and my mother. Christ is basically saying those that continue to do the work of the Lord, do all the things that are commanded of the Most High God continuously. Those are my brothers. Those are my sisters. Those are my mothers. Those are my people. Those are my family. You understand? So, with that, because of the time, I know we did start late. 1 hour and 40. All right, no sweat. because we did start late, obviously we're gonna have to pick up next week from where we're leaving off. Which one was this? Mark 333, 35. So start. What is today's date? The 14th. So that makes the 21st. 6:21. Okay. So we'll continue this breakdown next week. This is a very important breakdown for y'all to understand, especially in a time that we are living in right now, but also the time being the month that we are in, where you can't turn on Netflix, you can't turn on the internet. You understand? There's nothing that you can look at that is not promoting the wickedness of homosexuality, which is something that goes against the Most High God. You understand? Like, take for example, hell, even Burger King did some, they making burgers. Like, okay, so I got a question real quick. Have you eaten at Burger King at all this month? Okay. Because I am actually kind of curious. Like, do they ask you when you ask for a Whopper if you want it to be top, bottom, or top and bottom? Because they got a thing that had a picture with 2 top buns and then another burger right next to it with 2 bottom buns. Watch the language. But that's to go based off of the whole, sodomite, the sodomite community, right? So you can't even order food on the go without having to deal with that wickedness. Hell, you can't even just simply go grocery shopping, go pick up some mayo, because now for the 30 days of June it's called Gayo. You know what I'm saying? With Salakia, of all condiments, you're gonna pick mayo with the color that it is and the way that it looks, and you gonna call that, like, come on, man, like Salakia, that's wicked. That's wicked. That's just as wicked as hell as what they did with Sesame Street, how they made Bert and Ernie no longer roommates, but they are a sodomite couple. That's a gay couple on Sesame Street. You understand? And the reason why I'm also bringing that up is because what we just read in Proverbs, was it 22 and 6? So, like, if I got the chapter wrong, but where it says that raise up a child in the way that he shall go, and he will never depart. Mind you, a lot of us grew up on Sesame Street. I'm good at math because of Count Dracula. I like math because of Count Dracula. I thought he was funny, and I always liked when he came on the screen. To keep it a buck with you, Count Dracula and Cookie Monster were my two favorite characters. To keep it a buck with you. You understand? But now, as my children, raise up, they're not going to be allowed to watch Sesame Street. Something that actually helped me learn my ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and they're just the fundamentals of learning. You understand? They're not going to be allowed to watch Sesame Street because they're not going to be led up in any misdirection aside from the path of which they need to walk. You understand? Because the point is, and the fact of the matter at the end of the day is, my children will not be raised and taught to even entertain the thought of, I have free will, my body, my choice, I can do as I please, YOLO, anything along them lines, because as the title says, there's no such thing as free will. You understand? I'm Police Officer 500 out here in Las Vegas. You understand? We are the ISUPK Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander John Yohana. You understand? And with that, class dismissed.